Well, good morning, friends. Welcome back to the channel. I want to talk to you today about this exhaust that I got installed on this truck. And share a funny story about a guy who stopped by to want to try to buy this here little truck from me the other day. So, pop the hood here. This is practically the next video I've done since putting some miles on the new rebuilt engine here. We're up above about 1,400 miles now and doing well, doing great. But talking about the exhaust here. So just a recap on the engine, it's got a higher lift cam. I'm not exactly sure how high. I didn't buy it from the store, from LC Engineering. It came on the kit, so whatever their street cam is, I'm sure. It's got the new head on it. It's been bored out 50 thousandths over on all of the cylinders. It's got this high amp ignition system. And yeah, this header here. That header is made by something competition. Let's see if we can zoom in on that. I'll see if I can read it later. Anyway, this here is the cat that came off of it. So I elected to have Reed Muffler put a whole new cat on for me as well. The reason for that was Ollie, my three-legged dog. So, Reed Muffler down here in northern Utah, north the Ogden area. Ollie, don't knock it over. He quoted me a price with reusing this here cat, but he said he was gonna have to cut it off. You know, cut it off and weld new pipe to this existing pipe because these flanges are so shot. So I don't know, I just thought, you know what, we're putting a whole new exhaust system from the header all the way back. Why don't we just get a new cat to go with it? I paid him the core charge for this. I think factory Toyota cats, if they're functional, or probably hold somewhat of a good value. You might be able to find one at a junkyard or something. I don't know how much they're going to charge you for it, but for 40 bucks, I just paid him the core charge, kept the old cat. And I wasn't really sure whether it was going to be, you know, clogged or flowing really well. So I just kind of took a gamble and had him just send me put on a new one. And I think that was a good deal. So I'm going to hang on to this. We got plenty of other Toyota trucks and stuff around here that may end up using one of these. May end up needing one. Now, as far as actually whether it's clogged or in good shape or not, check this out. See if I can show you. Here, let me try like this. Look at that. You can see all the way through it. There's no clogs in it at all. Which is kind of surprising because up till now I've been running this truck probably a little on the rich side. So anyway, you can see daylight through all of the honeycombs. That's a pretty damn good cat right there. So maybe if you're lucky, yours would be in this good a shape as well. So anyway, after the whole rebuild on this engine, I would have just ran the existing exhaust that I had on it, but lo and behold, that muffler, nice round muffler, the whole back piece of it had blown completely off, gone. Just billowing exhaust right out of that, making all sorts of racket, flapping and fluttering, and just not good, right? Stinky and loud. So it was either I go ahead and buy all the pipes and whatnot and try to spend a day fighting with the thing and putting together an exhaust system, or I just take it down here to Reed Muffler and brakes. And those guys did a fantastic job, totally fair prices. I'm gonna tell you that this whole exhaust system cost me about $1,000, give or take a little bit. I don't wanna really spill the beans on exactly what his pricing is and stuff. Maybe it's a case-by-case basis, but totally fair price, fantastic quality work, highly recommend it. And I've got endless exhaust systems that I'm going to be taking down there to him in the future. Might even take some of these little tiny John Deere tractors down to him. But anyway, highly recommend these guys. Totally awesome. Took really good care of me. And not only that, I dropped it off about 2 in the afternoon, maybe 1:30 in the afternoon, expecting to not pick it up for 4 more days until Friday. They called me a couple hours later saying it was ready to go. So man, in and out service, top notch, fantastic. Under here and take a look at it. Never mind the rest of this truck's undercarriage, but it's a work in progress, and we'll touch more on that here in a minute. But he did reuse that flange. I had installed that flange on another piece of pipe prior when I first put this engine in, but we chose 2 1/4 inch pipe, and he put in these nice bends all the way back. And I also, and there's that new cat, and I asked him to try to tuck it up underneath because of the clearance, because this was an off-roader, obviously. And before, that cat would have been hanging down, I want to say nearly 2 inches maybe. So he did such a good job tucking that thing all the way up in there for me, and just excellent. Excellent. You can't ask for better work than that. It's a stainless steel muffler, so that should last a good long time. And I did also ask him to sort out the tailpipe where it discharges out the back, and that was the first thing I saw when I went to look at it when he was done with the work, and that's the part I'm most impressed with. Let's take a look. Holier than thou. How many of you guys can stick your hands through your truck? Anyway, before that exhaust pipe, it was just a teeny little round guy, smaller than, probably about the size of what's on that cat right there, maybe a 1 3/4 inch, 1 1/2 almost, but it came down right here. So that was the first thing I asked him. Hey, can you tuck that up, maybe bring it back here, and look at the work that he did here. Look at that. It's just premium, dude. Primo. Absolutely fantastic. So clean, so good, you can't even freaking see it from outside the truck. So super stoked, super thrilled on that exhaust. And at the end of the video here, we'll try to go take it for a little drive, see how it sounds. So before I went down and took this to the shop, did a ton of research on Yoda Tech and I Hate Mud, and read through so many countless opinions on what size pipe, whether or not to remove the catalytic converter. That shop's not going to let you just remove the cat. I mean, it's federally regulated, so I would have had to have still used it unless I built the whole system out myself. This here is registered as a farm truck in Utah, so emissions are exempt for it. But because primarily I use it for hauling sheep feed and hay around and things like that, and running farm errands. Everybody needs a farm truck. I wish I had a F450. That would be that'll be my next farm truck purchase. But anyway, that's what this thing's for. So kind of settled on the 2 1/4 inch pipe. Seemed to be the best case scenario. And then, you know, keeping a catalytic converter in there is probably good for the environment, and the engine might benefit from some backflow, back pressure on that as well. I'm not an exhaust expert. I didn't ask this guy on the expertise of building out a custom exhaust from front to back and the benefits and the scientifics behind it, but 2 1/4 is definitely a bit larger than whatever this size is right here. I'm going to want to say about 1 3/4, maybe even 1 1/2. So it's a fair bit larger than that. What I can say is, as soon as I pulled away from his shop there, just right out on the highway, instantly you can feel, I don't know, a few horsepower increase. It just sounds like and feels like it's breathing so much more. You push on the gas, that engine is able to actually deliver some power. You can hear and feel it flowing a heck of a lot better. I don't have dyno numbers from before, or don't plan on putting it on a dyno now, but I would guess several horsepower increase. 3, 5, probably not 7, but a fair bit. So combined with that cold air intake, which isn't necessarily a cold air intake of anything, being that it's sucking warm air in from the engine bay, but all combined with that higher flow intake, that header, this exhaust 2 1/4, I think this little engine is producing a fair bit more power. Now the only trouble is that I'm still contending with is putting these 33s these 33 10.5 15-inch tires on this size truck, the gearing is certainly suffering. And I kind of been thinking about putting together a whole other video discussing, you know, should I re-gear if I put 33s on? And I'm going to tell you, depending on if you live anywhere where there's mountains. I got a mountain pass road I have to drive over every day to get to and from home, and it suffers. It really does. So ideally I'll be putting probably 488 gears in here. I'm sure they're probably factory 411s, and hopefully we can restore it back down so it has the power to climb hills. But on the straight and level, you know, down the freeway, now this thing's got a fair bit of power. I want to say, compared to when before this engine died on us, you know, it was on its last leg at 230,000 miles, I guess. It was absolutely gutless, especially with these factory gears and these size tires. So anyway, massive improvement. It's got quite a bit of pep in its step now, and I'm pretty stoked with it. Alright, so you might want to know how it sounds from the driver's perspective, huh? Alright, so the microphones are inside the cab, the lens is outside of the cab on this. Let's see how this sounds. stones. Oh, gorgeous. Unbelievable. But yeah, if you wrap up the RPMs to a few thousand there, especially really quick, it wraps out a little bit. I don't know. It says it's a performance muffler, so take that for what it's worth. Now, interestingly, it doesn't sound a whole lot different than the old exhaust did as far as the tone and whatnot. It sounds maybe a little deeper, but still very much a 22RE sound. Didn't change it a whole lot. Don't know what a Magna Flow or a oh, look at all these wild turkeys coming up. They usually migrate over to my yard and fly up into the trees and eat the old withering crab apples out of the crabapple trees. Here comes the John. Is that what they call the one with the beard? The male? Cool. Usually only see them in my yard for a couple days each winter, which is nice. It's not a huge nuisance like these guys have to deal with over here. They're fun to look at, but man, once they start taking over your yard. Over in Huntsville, about a 10-minute drive that way, it's quite a problem. It's a nice little township, lots of neighborhood houses and stuff all in there, and there's probably 100 or more of these turkeys, and they're just shitting all over everybody's yard. It's a real problem. Anyway, it sounds real good. It sounds nice. I haven't really had it out on the freeway at 70 miles an hour, 65, 75 miles an hour for a long period of time, so hopefully it doesn't drone on too annoyingly in that instance. But I'm not going to drive all the way down to the freeway until later tonight. So here, let me tune this camera up inside here. Definitely not on the super quiet side. It's loud enough you can hear it, no question. But I'm hoping that's what's kind of helping give it that performance, you know, that little boost. I can breathe a little better, I'm thinking. There goes my buddy in his FJ40. Woody. Fire captain up here in the valley. Little boss, man. We were gonna go and off-road these machines up at the top of that mountain this summer, but as things do, run out of time. Anyway, that's how she sounds. Pretty happy with it, pretty stoked about it. Just fine and dandy. That's a wrap. See ya.